win the regular season finale and wins his way into the Liberty Racing League.
The green flag, 27 cars strong, 125 laps and miles. Green flag is out and the Monster Mile 125 is underway.
He'll shoot to the outside lane. He gets by Jarrett Bolliard for the race lead.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Vidane TV. Little Tuesday night action here. The Liberty Racing League back here with us. Little playoff action. We're looking for 4 to send home in that championship title hunt to knock it down to the round of 3. We're here doing it with the 87 cars here at Talladega Super Speedway Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. in this production trailer alongside me, virtually alongside me, Dr. Race Chaser himself, Kyle Young. Kyle, how we feeling tonight, my man?
Paul, we are doing extremely well. It is another Tuesday night here on Vidane TV, which means that we are playoff racing with the Liberty Racing League Super Speedway Series. We are back in the 1987 Cup cars. We are at the biggest... Well, I guess iRacing Super Speedway is actually bigger, so I lied right off the bat. Look at me. How about this? We're at the biggest real-world NASCAR track that there is. Can't prove me wrong on that one. Oval. Road courses. I should just stop. Here at Talladega, ready to have some fun. 4 drivers going to be eliminated in another playoff do-or-die event. It is going to be a lot of fun. These cars at this racetrack are such a blast to drive, and they are going to be a blast to watch as well. We've got a good field. We've got about 22 cars, I believe, that will be in this event. So a healthy field, 12 of them racing for their playoff life, and the other 10 going for the extra $10 in the Dr. Race Chaser bonus tonight. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
Always trying to throw a little bit of bonus money at the drivers here in the Liberty Racing League. You can see there on your screen the bracket as it stands right now here for the round of 12. This round of 12 is only 1 race long. We're not going to be running 2, 3, 4 races like you see a lot of sim racing and real racing leagues do. We're running this 1 race, and the bottom 4, they get sent back to the shop. They'll be back next week to race, but they won't be racing for that coveted championship trophy. Championship belt, rather. WWE style championship belt. We saw a video of that over on the Liberty Racing League Facebook page. Be sure to check that out. Give them a like and a follow, as well as us over at Vidane TV. Definitely appreciate it. Saw these drivers take 5 minutes to the track with open qualifying, getting just enough time to get a couple of laps out there and try and draft just a little bit of a hot lap. And you can see a couple of championship contenders up on that front row. The 3 car going to take that pole. Jason Foskey with a 2.85 right outside of him. Barely wrecked his way into the championship round of 12 here tonight. The 83 car of Taylor Lasowski.
Row number 2 will find 2 more playoff drivers as the 18 machine of Bobby Anderson will roll off on the inside in position number 3, and Kevin West in car number 17 in a very Dale Earnhardt-esque paint scheme. He's going to be 4th place.
Michael Carpenter going to round out the top 5 in the number 5 machine. Rowdy Wesley Hogan, the 38 machine, going to start P6.
Then row number 4, we have more playoff drivers. It's last week's winner, the 04 machine of Mark Mandan. He will be joined by the winner of the most recent race in these 1987 cars at Daytona, roughly 3 weeks ago. That is the 49 machine of TJ Floyd.
And you can see these drivers doubled up all the way through the field here, ready to rock and or roll. Jarrett Bolliard going to start P9. Bobby Gibson going to round out the top 10. You'll be able to see the rest of the starting grid go across your screen there on the Vidane.net scoring pylon, and follow along there on the left-hand side of your screen. These Talladega races, these super speedway races, especially in these 87 Cup cars, a lot of fun to watch, lots of action, Kyle. These cars bounce all over the place. We can see they've been able to really take a beating throughout the Liberty Racing Series season here, the couple of times that we've seen these guys in here. And I think the ability to kind of beat and bang and hold on to it really matches a lot of the personalities that we see here in this field of drivers here with the Liberty Racing League.
And it's a good benefit to have as well. You know that if maybe you make a little bit of a mistake, you get into the wall, you get into another driver, you don't necessarily have to worry about the car being broken or at a massive aerodynamic disadvantage. As we all know, we do still have one fast repair that these guys can rely on, but even for a minor incident, a minor spin, something that maybe kind of makes you balance the use of that fast repair. You don't always have to jump right to it. You actually can get the damage fixed, get the fenders beat out, and continue to race and be competitive. So that's definitely one thing that's going to work into the favor of these drivers. The thing that's not is the handling. These cars are a handful. It's not just flat out and wide open super speedway racing like you typically see. You got to drive these things, and they get hard to drive. They get loosey-goosey. The tires wear out. This is going to be a driver's race for sure.
bshow.info jumping on board with the race sponsorship here for the second round of playoff knockout, round number 2 here. And as always here at Talladega, you got to wait for that start finish line all the way down here on the end of the front straightaway. There it is. Barney in the flag stand says go, 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 and they thunder on down into turn number 1. The 3 car down to the bottom side. Laskoski in the 83 up top.
A very solid start there for Jason Foskey. He gets out to a big advantage over Michael Carpenter, but what helps him out is he has all 3 of his NT04 racing teammates to the outside. It doesn't look like any of them are going to give him a hold to jump up. They're going to blast on him with the help of TJ Floyd. Now Jason's able to move up to the top side. Michael Carpenter goes with them, but Floyd will break up that 4-car train, and Taylor Laskoski's Pennzoil number 83 machine will lead coming off of turn 4.
There are some hungry drivers up in that top 3, and take a look at those paint schemes. Kind of a throwback-esque to some of the DEI days. The Kevin West machine, the 17 Trailer Park Dude ride. He's got W on board there as well. W Energy, 10% off. Use that promo code of Trailer Park Dude. 17 cars dipping on into the lead with that Dale Earnhardt throwback scheme that you made mention earlier on. You can see Wes Hogan, the 38 car. Kind of an inverted color scheme of that. We see the old Steve Park machine, the Pennzoil throwback scheme on the 83. So always cool to see these 87 cars jump on track, and it's great to see some awesome paint schemes. How about the TJ Floyd ride, the number 49 bshow.info Vidane TV ride, doing pretty well in that awesome paint scheme there in second place.
I made mention of it during the grade. TJ Floyd was the winner the last time that these 1987 cars were on the racetrack here in the Liberty Racing League. So he has probably got a little bit of confidence going on inside that number 49 car, knowing that he made the trip to Victory Lane the last time he strapped into one of these machines. He got very loose coming off of off of the tri-oval there, lost a little bit of ground, but was able to recover quite nicely. That's one of the things that you're going to be watching throughout this entire race, ladies and gentlemen. These cars are going to get sideways, they're going to get slippery. You may see somebody self-spin all on their own, and that's typically not something that you see at Talladega, but it is a factor here with these 1987 cars. They are pushing well over 200 miles an hour. These cars are up off of the ground. They are very light when the fuel starts to burn off and when the tires start to wear away, so keep your eyes out for that. Handling will be a factor. It is going to be a very interesting race. 3 laps in the books, and now Jason Foskey has worked his way back to the front. He gets himself a lap led, which does matter tonight, Paul. There are bonus points for leading laps and leading the most laps. We saw last week that Taylor Laskoski got that final transfer spot by just 2 points. It would not surprise me at all if it comes down to another narrow margin like that tonight.
And another thing to keep in mind with these drivers all racing for a championship, and the other drivers outside of the championship hunt racing for a little bit of extra money put on the table by Dr. Race Chaser. These guys have been running these long green flag runs here throughout this latter part of the season. So pit stops have been an absolute key to all of these past races here in the Liberty Racing League season here. And these 87 cars, very, very tricky to get slowed down on pit road. This is the style of race car where brakes really didn't matter too much. And a lot of times you'll sit through these drivers that you kind of watch them in practice. They'll spend a little bit of time kind of working to get the race set up. Some drivers will work on green flag pit stops, all sorts of stuff. We had a little bit of mishap during practice here earlier today. Rob Collier actually kicked from the session, so lost a couple of minutes of practice time getting that all squared away, getting the new session set up and ready to rock and roll here. But that's going to be a factor we might just have to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paul. iRacing did a very good job in modeling these race cars to be as accurate to what they were back in 1987 and I'm just going to be frank with you, the brakes flat out suck on these things. You can put the brakes to the floor and they will not slow down. So typically these super speedways are challenging enough to pit during green flag cycles on. Add that element into it, you're going faster than what today's NASCAR race cars go. It is going to be a massive challenge. And we saw that a few weeks ago at Daytona. We saw drivers making mistakes coming onto pit road, and we got some mistakes at the back of the field. A couple cars just darted down to the inside wall. One of them is a playoff driver, Bobby Anderson. I believe he has made contact with that inside wall because he is showing some damage. That car does not look to be right suspension-wise. The 54 machine of David Watts is also involved. That happened at the back of the field and off of the racing surface, so we stay green, but early troubles for the Interstate Batteries number 18 machine of Bobby Anderson, one of the 12 playoff drivers.
Yeah, David Watts, you can see hard impact there on the left-hand side of that car. Able to get it going, but it definitely looks like something is broken on that. We'll see if he can get that thing back around the pit road and get it repaired. Back up front, though, these drivers know it is still green flag racing. Teammates side by side. Oh, contact! 83 car up to the outside wall, down and around into the inside wall. We stay clean and green again. Taylor Laskowski down and around and going to lose a lot of track position.
I made mention of it, Paul. The handling is a factor tonight, and you're starting to see it. These guys are struggling. They're washing up into the outside wall, and that's exactly what happened with Taylor Laskowski, and he also took Jarrett Bolliard with him. So those are two more playoff drivers in trouble. Getting into the outside wall, spinning around, no caution flag flying. That's something that has been very consistent in this league this season. iRacing cautions only, and it sucks for those guys, but the consistency in the league is what is important. So no yellow flag here, and we have 3 playoff drivers in big trouble less than 10 laps into this race.
Yeah, and that's one of the keys to moving on here in the playoffs is don't be in that bottom 4. 3 wide here for second, the 2 car of Telder. How about that? Non-playoff driver up into the 38. Not quite enough room. 38 not able to back off in time. The 2 car, Matt Telder, up into the outside wall, able to hold on to it, correct it. No caution once again. We stay clean and green. Well, we stay green anyway.
Paul, I'm really surprised. I did not expect these guys to have this many issues this early on into a run. Typically 15 to 20 laps in, yeah, you would start to expect it, but not less than 10 laps in. I don't know if that's just a sign of these guys pushing it a little harder than what they were expecting, or if maybe my information and my thoughts are just inaccurate on what the degradation of these cars were going to be. But nonetheless, we have now thinned out the lead pack, and you're looking at it. That's it. Rob Collier and Kevin West. Those are the only 2 cars. They've got Michael Carpenter, who you can now see on the screen in 3rd place. He's roughly 1.5 seconds off of those top 2. We'll get a more accurate reading of the distances once they come across the start-finish line here in a few seconds. They are kind of starting to rework their way back into a group here, all single file. As the top 2 hit the start-finish line, we get their times, and we'll see where this pack is at. It's now 2.5 seconds back. So they lost a full second that last time by. This group 2.5 seconds off of the tandem Rob Collier and Kevin West up at the front of the field.
And you can see with that 5 car leading that second pack right in there, TJ Floyd is in the mix, Anthony English, Dirtstock in the 7 car, Bobby Gibson up in there as well. You can see the 7 car trying to get back in there, be the 5th car in line, trying to get themselves to kind of draft up and catch those top 2. You can see Foskey in the 3 car might have some heating issues in that car, or some cooling issues rather. Dips on up to grab some air, but they're losing time. They lost about a 10th, maybe a 10th and a half that lap to those 2 drivers that are hooked up in the front.
And that is certainly not going to be of any benefit for them. Yeah, you called it 3 tenths that last time by that they just lost to that group of 2 up in front there. And this is a very interesting ordeal for Kevin West because all 3 of his teammates are now outside of this lead pack. He does have Jason Foskey in that 2nd pack, but Taylor Laskowski and Wes Hogue, they were caught up in some of those incidents, so those guys are way out of the picture at the moment, and Kevin West is now having to deal with a non-teammate and one of his strongest competitors. We've seen how good Rob Collier has been this season in this series. He picked up a couple wins early on. He's kind of been quiet over the last few weeks, but as long as he's still alive, I am not going to count out that 0-2 of Rob Collier. He knows what he is doing and will be a threat the entire time that he is still involved in this playoff battle. You can see this tandem of cars here, the 04 and the 4, that is just off of that 2 car or that 5 car pack. right up in front of them. They are trying to join that group and make it a 7-car pack to hopefully run down the top 2, try to get as close as they can prior to potential green flag pit stops. You can see here Bobby Gibson coming off of turn number 2. He is also just off of this pack, trying to grab a slight little draft and close in as well. These guys, as they continue to grow this pack, they're starting to scatter out and spread around a little bit. It's just challenging to stay lined up and get a good draft with these 1987 cars, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do once they do get formed up and what they can do heading into green flag pit stops.
And you can see what it's like to kind of get around this track. This is back in 14th place on board with the 59 of Darren Mack. You can hear that throttle on and off. There's the lights blinking on the dashboard up in the tack, above 7,000 RPMs. Getting in, still have momentum up, trying to catch the guys up in front of you, but not trying to get up there and slam because the bumpers don't really line up just as much. And you can see still kind of sawing on that wheel back and forth just to keep it straight. These cars are an absolute handful here to handle at these big super speedway tracks.
It is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. We've seen the downsides of that here in the early stages of this race. Seems that things have kind of calmed down. Maybe the fear of God has been thrown around these guys after seeing some of those incidents. They've realized that, hey, we got to calm it down here a little bit. We got to make sure that we are still around at the end if we want to have a shot at it. You can see here Matt Telder and Taylor Laskowski, two of the drivers that had some incidents earlier on. They are roughly half a track behind your race leaders. They're working their way down the backstretch as these two are working their way through the tri-oval, trying to hope for a caution and keep themselves out of trouble while they are pacing around the track by themselves. There's Jarrett Bolliard. You can still see the damage on his number 97, that right front quarter panel. We made mention of it a little while ago, Paul. There's a little bit of damage on that Hardee's Ford Thunderbird. May not be enough to justify using a fast repair. He might be able to get that car fixed once he gets onto pit road, but that's one of the elements that he's going to have to battle with the first time he does come down on pit road.
Yeah, Rob Collier is still holding on to the lead. Kevin West holding on to second there. Biggest move of the race so far going to be the 44 car of Anthony English in this pack right now, currently running in that 5th position. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all kind of lined up, trying to make up a little bit of time, but to no avail. That lead, almost 6 seconds. Those two drivers up front, 02, 17 car, not necessarily teammates, but working very, very well together. Maybe that's something some of these drivers are going to start kind of taking notes on, that maybe you get kind of paired up with somebody that you can draft really well with, that you've practiced in these cars with before, maybe in previous races. Try and get hooked up and maybe breakaway. Try and get like a 2-car breakaway. And we've seen a lot of the teams kind of work together here over these past few weeks with the Liberty Racing League. So that might be a factor to take a peek at here as well.
Sometimes you don't get the choice to choose your dancing partners when you're racing at a super speedway. They're just handed to you, and you have to deal with what you are given. And that is exactly the situation that Rob Collier and Kevin West are in right now, and they are making the most of it, continuing to pull away from this draft that you are seeing entering turn number 3. I believe it is now 7 cars strong as they work through turns 3 and 4. You ride on board here with the number 44 machine, I believe, of Anthony English, coming down off of turn number 4. Anthony was one of our strongest non-playoff competitors last week at Daytona in the next-gen race cars, currently putting himself inside the top 5 right now. Paul, you just mentioned, already up 13 positions in this race. He is one of those drivers looking for that extra $10 if he can go to victory lane tonight, courtesy of yours truly, Dr. Race Chaser. The extra bonus money, it's still $25 to win every single one of these races, but if a non-playoff driver wins, they will cash a $35 prize. And I don't know about you, Paul, but for hanging out online and running a race for about an hour and a half, $35, it's not too bad. You could do some pretty good iRacing content damage with that one.
Not too bad at all. And if iRacing is something you want to check out, if you're out there watching at home and not really sure what's going on, these are all folks that are at home or in their race shop, or maybe they're in their apartment or out in their garage, kind of get set up on the old iRacing rig, steering wheel, pedals, all that good stuff, and they're racing together here in a private league, and they're racing for a championship belt at the end of the season. They're racing with a whole bunch of money, bonus money, race money throughout the season, put up by lots of cool sponsors. If you want to check it out, iRacing.com, 40% off new subscriptions, and definitely check that out. And if you're not sold yet, if you really need like 60 seconds of contact to really sell you on what goes down in iRacing, what goes on here at iRacing or here at Verdane TV, check out the Verdane TV shorts. Got these debuted here, the first 12-pack of them over on the Verdane TV YouTube page. Just some highlights and some snippets of some exciting adventures that we've had here on Verdane TV, and you can bet your bottom dollar that this Liberty Racing League playoff is going to have a whole bunch of clips in the mix over the next couple of weeks here, and you can even see that new Dr. Race Chaser intro hooked up over on the Verdane TV page.
Looking beautiful as ever, Paul. You did a wonderful job. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it or anything. I'm just going to give you all the praise. It was good, high quality content. And it's really cool to see the Verdane TV production start to expand into some different areas. As you've made mention over the last few weeks, sim racing season, at least for us that are involved in the real world racing scene, it's starting to kind of slow down. Certainly not for my friends and family up in New York right now who are dealing with the blizzard, but for the majority of the country, it's starting to become spring a little bit, warm up, clear up, get some race cars on the racetrack, and some of these new ventures that you're starting to tackle, just a way that we can keep Verdane TV rocking and rolling during those summer months while there's not as much sim racing going on.
Yeah, 100%. We've got some stickers on order here, some nice decals here with the new Verdane TV logo. A little subtle change that we've made here for the 2023 calendar year here, getting ready for the next winter and fall season that we usually get really ramped up with the iRacing stuff, but kind of getting all the real racing stuff lined up on the front burner and getting ready to really crank up the heat. Going to be at Stafford Motor Speedway, hopefully every Friday night, every Friday show here, hooking up with the Renner Race Car crew, Gary Spinato Jr., Paul Verricchio Jr. Going to be cool to see Gary Jr.'s kid Alex jump in and run full-time this year. Third-generation race car driver, the son of a race car driver, which is kind of neat to be able to do that and watch him kind of grow into the race car driver and to be able to actually race against him here coming up in July. That's going to be a lot of fun. If you're up in the area, July 14th, shoot on up to Stafford Motor Speedway. Get yourself a ticket to the SRX Thursday Night Thunder the night before that, but you'll be able to see me in the number 6 street stock in the Renner Race Car Fleet, sponsored by Verdane TV. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's been 3-4 years since I've been in the car, and I'm really looking forward to hopping on in and racing with some of the best street stock drivers in the Northeast. And you're going to be able to catch all the information, all that stuff live over on Verdane.net. And speaking of live, we've got ourselves some green flag pit stops here 20 laps in.
We sure do, Paul. The top two have made their way in, Kevin West and Rob Collier. We also saw there Michael Carpenter, and it looks to be the 7 machine of Frederick Durstock there on pit road. Everything looking pretty clean so far. I didn't see any issues amongst that first batch of cars that decided to come down. Everybody nice and smooth. Coming down for service, Kevin West going to take right side tires only. Rob Collier coming out shortly behind him. So those two, I think they should be able to get paired up here. There's a little bit of a gap between them, but not too much. They should be able to stay connected here once they get back up to speed. You see Telder coming off of pit road now. You see the 7 of Durstock coming off of pit road. Remember, Telder is off of the lead lap. He was involved in one of those earlier incidents that did not trigger a caution flag. And that's an element, Paul, that we really got to touch on here because this is changing dramatically. Telder's a lap down. Jarrett Bolliard, Taylor Laskowski, Bobby Anderson, Jax Duval-Krull, all off of the lead lap as playoff drivers. This is not good for them. They were hoping for a quick caution. They did not get it, and now they're really in trouble being trapped off the lead lap.
And you can see Batman up in the front, the 04 and the 4. We've seen this duo work very, very well together, and they're doing that exact same thing here at Talladega. Holding on to the lead right now. We'll see if they come down this time by. They've got TJ Floyd and Kevin West. TJ Floyd in tow. Looks like Kevin West out in 4th, and Rob Collier going to round out in 5th. You can see those top 3 drivers going to come down pit lane. A little bit of smoke there out of the Jack Daniels. Ooh, caution flag on the speedway. Oh, this is going to change everything, Kyle.
Not only that, but that group of cars that you just saw coming down on the pit road, that flew right as they were about to cross the commitment line. So that could be interesting if they got nabbed with entering a closed pit penalty. So that is going to be quite the factor to pull in here. Kind of scrolling around things here to see exactly what the cause of the caution is. I don't know. Was it for the 59 kind of sliding coming out of pit road there?
It's what it seemed like. Just taking a look through, the 59 car came across the notepad here as the cause of the caution. So a little bit squirrely coming off of pit road. I guess during green flag pit stops, that is a call that they can make. Just taking a look here at this pit entry. Going to see if we can get it slowed down to see just where we are. There's the drivers, the leaders coming down pit road. Pit road's still open here at the 04, the 4, and the 49. Oh! That's going to be close. That's very interesting. We'll have to see if the 49 car got himself a penalty on that. That's a little bit too close for me to call.
Yeah, I really don't know either, Paul. I'm trying to stay connected to the driver chat to see if any of them are making comments on what just went down there. I haven't heard anything quite yet, but yeah, that's not good. If they were able to sneak their way onto pit road, it may actually work out fairly well for them, but if not, and they get penalized for entering a close pit, that is going to be very detrimental. I don't know if that is a tail end of the line penalty, or if that's an actual hard black flag that they have to serve under green flag, but I guess we'll wait and find out here in just a little while, and go from there. But a lot of different things kind of all scrambled up here with that caution flag happening in the middle of green flag pit cycles. Cars on the lead lap and off the lead lap already, so we'll give it here a minute to kind of cycle things out, and we'll definitely be sure to update you on where we stand before we go back to green flag racing here in a little while.
And we talked about it at the top of the show. These guys in practice having a little bit of a mishap here, not able to quite get the full practice laps in, having to switch servers, what have you. Didn't quite get the opportunity to maybe fully kind of test out their green flag pit stops. And we made mention in these cars, the 87 Cup cars, the brakes weren't very good. And speaking of rent a race car, the very first time I hopped in one of those street stocks, they're very, very similar to the late 80s Monte Carlos. You hop on in, and after my first practice, I said, "Hey, Gary, there's no real brake pedal. Like, what do I do?" And, well, Gary Sr. in your background just kind of chuckles, "Ha, you don't need brakes, kid." So one of those things to really keep in mind here when we get these green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it's very true. It honestly may not even hurt these guys all that much to for a couple laps there right before they get into pit road, kind of test the brakes out a little bit, maybe build up a little bit of heat in them, get them to work a little bit better out there on the racetrack. Typically, you try not to brake too much with these cars because you don't want to lose a lot of momentum. But at the same time, there are also guys that will try to use the brake pedal rather than lifting because they think it'll actually save momentum more than lifting off the throttle and getting back into it. So there's a couple different strategies that you could take there. Really, for the most part, I was pretty impressed with what we saw coming down onto pit road. There weren't a lot of issues, weren't a lot of guys that really had some problems. Of course, Darren Mack had the issue there coming off of pit road, but as far as pit road entries were considered, not all that many issues. These guys actually did a really good job getting down on there.
Yeah, just that one little mishap, a driver coming off of pit road, losing the back end of the race car, but everything else A-okay. Taking a look up front, the 04 and the 4, holding on to the lead, man, and Seabrand's 1 and 2. Floyd West and Foskey going to round out the top 5 as they run. J.L. Rogers, and well, looks like we got a couple of drivers in the bottom side of the top 10. They're going to come down pit road, kind of top off on fuel, and it seems like it's been kind of a longer caution here, just a little bit, maybe an extra lap or so to clean up some of the virtual debris around the track, but it seems like we've been around a couple of times, so this might be a good move coming down pit road and topping off.
Certainly is not going to hurt them, that is for sure. So it does appear that we have taken the 1 to green, so we will see the green flag come out the next time by. A bit of a benefit, I guess, here for Jax Duval Krull and Taylor Laskowski. We did see them on pit road early on in that cycle. They were given the free pass, or the wave round, rather. They stayed out on the racetrack while everybody else came down to pit road, so they will get their laps back. They'll be back on the lead lap. That should put both of them back in contention. Still off of the lead lap, though, Don Ashton, Bobby Gibson, Matt Telder, Jarrett Bolliard, and David Watts. The big one out of that group is Jarrett Bolliard. He is one of your playoff drivers and currently is not in position for the free pass. He would have to pass a few cars under this green flag run. So don't count Jared out just yet. There's still plenty of laps left. We will have about 54 laps to go once we get back to racing here, but certainly still down at the moment. He is trying to get himself back in contention to advance in this playoff fight. He's got some work to do, but he certainly has time on his side.
And Jared Bolliard in that number 97 Hardee's machine, trying to be what I'm going to assume is the very first sim racer to have count 'em, two championship belts, picking up the Verdane Racing Sim 500 Super Speedway Series Championship a few years back here live on Verdane TV. Only driver in the field that already has one of those championship belts, going for his second one as the pace car, going to go for a corn dog and a Coke down there on the safety of pit road. We've got this long super stretch here on the front straightaway. The 04 Batman down on the bottom side. The Yeti and the Seabrins machine up in the top side. Coming to the green here, Kyle. Let's go.
Mark Mann will stab the gas pedal, bring the field back to life. He may have checked them up a little bit.
Shoo!
Kevin Watts is going to jump to the outside 3 wide. That is a legal move. You can pass on the outside before you get to the start-finish line, and he will take that momentum to the race lead. He's going to bring Jason Foskey with him, so put the 2 NTO4 racing drivers up at the front of the field as things got a little misorganized there between the 04 of Mann and the 4 of Seabrins.
That's one of those passes from Kevin West there in the 17 machine. You're probably going to want to check out over on his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/trailerparkdude. Heads up driving, getting around the outside and bringing a dancing partner with him. Jason Foskey in the 3 car followed him on that high side. He runs second.
Kevin West will lead the field into the tri-oval here to complete lap number 27. Foskey still doing what he needs to do as a good teammate, right in line. Seabrins now starting to reel his way back in. Was looking through the admin control here. I don't see any black flags needing to be cleared for the 49 machine of TJ Floyd, so I would assume that I think he was the last one that came down on the pit road there, that group that was really tight, so I'm assuming that he did not get penalized for entering a closed pit, which is great news for him, as you ride on board with Rick Seabrands going into turn number 3. That group all single file riding around the bottom side of the racetrack. Looks like we got about a 6-car group here before there's a little bit of separation back to the 7th place running Mark Mann machine, who's still trying to get his momentum back up after that issue. And TJ Floyd is sideways and saves it at the exit of the tri-oval. What a great job by that driver. Got sideways again. We saw him do it earlier in the race. He saves the race car, gets it back going, catches a couple other cars off the pace there, but avoids disaster, and we stay green. What a save there, Paul.
Yeah, great race. I'm trying to take a look at it quickly here under green with the U.S. Racing Designs instant replay. But, man, awesome to see just week after week these guys in the Liberty Racing League field just really intensify their level of driving week after week. And you can really show. We heard Wes, after we went off the air last week, ask a couple of the drivers, hey, what does it mean to win here in Liberty Racing? And these drivers, are you kidding me? It's everything. The competition, very, very stout here in the Liberty Racing field. Very high strength of field here each and every single week with these super speedways. And you can see with the team aspect, with these guys working together, with teammates, with maybe guys that they don't necessarily normally work with. It's really cool to see. It's really been fun to watch. And it's great to see 50 more laps here at Talladega. A couple more races to go in the playoffs. I'm excited, Kyle. I'm excited to see who's going to come home with that championship belt.
Crazy to think that 2 weeks from right now, we are going to be racing for that championship belt and concluding this season. You get so used to doing the same thing every Tuesday night, you almost forget that there is a time where it does come to an end, and that end is certainly just around the corner for these drivers. Still a lot of racing to go before we get to that point, but you got to start thinking about it. It's playoff time. The championship is right around the corner. It's going to be a big night here on Tuesday, March 28th, as we crown the third Verdane TV Liberty Racing League champion here on, well, Verdane TV. 3 wide for the race lead, I believe. Kind of. That's 2 wide for the race lead, as Matt Telder is up there in the group trying to race his way back onto the lead lap the good old-fashioned way. And he's got some help because Jarrett Bulliard is also trying to do the same thing. Now, those 2 drivers, they are also racing for the Free Pass Award, but if they can get themselves in front of the race leaders here, which it looks like they're going to do entering turn number 1, they won't have to worry about getting the Free Pass. They'll just have to need a caution flag in order to get themselves caught back up onto the tail end of the lead lap. So interesting little element to the race here. We got some lapped cars racing with the lead lap drivers. Spins off of turn number 2. The 5 of Michael Carpenter is around. He took another car with him. They slide into the inside wall. No caution flag there. Clear. Now the caution flag flies. So they do get the flag. The 95 is the other car involved. That is James Mayer. We saw Mayer, a very strong contender last week, had an impact on the finish of that race last week. 2 cars involved in this incident. Some minor contact to the inside wall, but nonetheless, another playoff driver with issues coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, and we're taking a peek at it now on the U-House Race Designs Instant Replay. Taking a peek at it here from the blimp. You can see the 5 car kind of drifts up just a little bit, up into the middle racing groove, up into the high groove, tags the outside wall, comes back down, and unfortunately, that driver, that Mare machine, the number 95 car, is down there. 5 car Carpenter. Quick little tap, like we had mentioned, of the inside safer barrier there, and gets that thing, backs it in one more time, but is able to grab a gear right off the rip and gets a rolling once again. So Carpenter's still in this one. Going to have to try and make up a lot of track position, though. Maybe come down, get a set of good gears, get a set of tires, put on that number 5 car, as well as that James Mayer machine in the number 95. You can see a little bit of hood damage there on the right-hand side. Actually, looks like there's a little bit of damage on all sides of that 95 car. So we'll see what these guys are able to do from a little bit further on in the back, just about to the halfway marker.
Tell you what, Paul, we were literally just talking about it before that wreck broke out. Who looks like a genius now? That's Matt Telder. Raced his way in front of the race leaders, got himself back on the lead lap the good old-fashioned way, and this caution flag allows him to come back through to the field and rejoin as a lead lap car. It's also going to benefit the 97 of Jarrett Bulliard. He was oh so close, but was not able to clear race leader Rob Collier before the caution flag came out. He will, however, be the recipient of the free pass, so he too will get his lap back and put himself back into contention of this race. The only other playoff driver that's sitting in trouble right now, obviously we just mentioned Michael Carpenter, who was involved in that spin, but the 18 machine of Bobby Anderson. He is the only other playoff driver that is off of the lead lap well, actually, as I say that, he gets back on the lead lap. It looks like he is going to stay out and try to take the wave around here to get back on the lead lap. So that should, if this works out, that should put all 12 of our playoff cars back on the lead lap and in contention for the round of 8.
Monstrous. 2 tires stop for Rob Collier in the 0-2 car. He's going to come off pit road first. Kevin West in behind him. Wes Hogue, Jason Foskey, and Michael Rogers going to be the first 5 cars off of pit road. Frederick Durstock, Mark Mann, Rick Seabrins, and TJ Floyd coming on off. And you can see drivers still kind of trickling off pit road here. A little bit of an extended pit stop for some of these guys, kind of mid-pack on back, just working on some of that virtual sheet metal, some of that virtual damage, trying to get things cleared up. We've alluded to it a couple of times here tonight, Kyle. These guys do have that quick repair in their back pocket, but you really don't want to try and use that before halfway. You want to kind of hold on to that as long as you can and hope that, really hope that you don't need it. But if you do, you want to kind of be able to utilize it towards the end of the race and really take advantage of that fresh car. So you can see a couple of guys down on pit road, not really too worried about timing right now, but just kind of playing chess instead of checkers here with the strategy.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. If you keep that fast repair in your back pocket for the second half of the race, maybe it allows you to get a little bit more aggressive, because essentially that's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Of course, you're still going to be in trouble if, say, you get yourself upside down and stuck there and have to tow back to pit road. But to know that you still have a fresh car sitting in your back pocket if something happens late in the going, kind of gives yourself a little more confidence to be able to make some more daring moves and be a little risky. See if you can make something happen here late in the going. Speaking of somebody who was making some risky moves, I am very interested here to get a word with the number 97 machine of Jared Bolliard. We just saw him a few moments ago racing amongst the leaders to try to fight for his lap back. It didn't necessarily work completely to plan, but Jared, you did just get the free pass. You got a copy for us, my friend.
Yep, I hear you loud and clear.
So take me through some of those laps there on that green flag run. You and Matt Telder, as lapped cars, were trying to work your way through the field to get your laps back the old-fashioned way and not rely on the lucky dog or the wave rounds. It worked out for Telder, not necessarily as much for you, but you're still back on the lead lap. The first half of the race certainly has been crazy for you. How has it been from your perspective?
Well, on that restart, I told Matt to haul ass, and I was going to push us both past the leaders, and I got real close, but it couldn't quite finish it. But yeah, I got taken out when Taylor came off the wall. I know it wasn't on purpose, but it was frustrating. I lost the draft, and then somehow I got screwed in that pit sequence and got stuck a lap down. I'm still not quite sure how, but I had pitted, took fuel, and just figured I'd try to get my lap back the old-fashioned way, and did the best I could with what I was handed.
So we can still see some fender damage on that right front of your number 97 Hardee's Ford Thunderbird. Second half of the race is just about here. You're back on the lead lap. I'm assuming you still have that fast repair since we can see the damage. How do you reset the brain and refocus on the task at hand after all the turmoil that you've been through so far?
Well, I had 3 minutes of damage, and I figured I figured it couldn't have been that slow, but then we went and passed the whole field, so it's definitely not that bad. So figured I might as well save it.
A very interesting strategy. It will be fun to watch you throughout the second half to see if you can pull it off. Jared, we appreciate the time and wish you the best here in the second half of this event.
Yep, thank you. Sounds good. We're going for it, that's for sure.
Keep your eyes on that number 97 machine, Jared Bolliard. He is back in the fight on the lead lap. As he said there, Paul, and as we were mentioning, trying to manage that balance of getting the car repaired and using that fast repair to get yourself back into the race. He is going to be very entertaining to watch here. It doesn't sound like he's going to be holding anything back. He is absolutely going for it right here.
And a lot of these drivers playing chess still with the strategy in this game. A lot of drivers, as a matter of fact, all of the drivers outside of the top 7 rather, coming down to top off their fuel tanks under this caution flag. So you can see lots of drivers lined up down on the inside line. We're going to get that green flag here to kick things off for lap number 36, and it's a big jump for Rob Collier in the O2. But we've seen here in this Liberty Racing Super Speedway Series, that big jump might not be what the doctor ordered.
Field will work their way through turns number 1 and 2, building momentum, building speed, and as you can see, that gap that Collier had quickly vanishes as Wes Hogue closes on the back bumper, darts down to the inside lane, and he will look for the race lead for the first time here tonight. Jason Foskey going to split the difference up the middle. He wants to take the lead. He clears Rob Collier, goes to the top lane, and now challenges teammate Wes Hogue for the lead. He's going to lose that battle. Hogue will hang on and now brings TJ Floyd in the 49 car alongside the 3 on the bottom side. They'll move up to the top side of the track through the tri-oval, down back to the bottom. The 38 of Wes Hogue, he is going to get some bonus points for leading lap number 36. A good sign for him. Didn't get to the front of the field yet. He's had some issues to this point, but he is now back in it up front and doing what he needs to do to advance to the round of 8.
Easiest way to get into the next round is go out there and win the race. We've heard Wes talk all season long, before the races, during the races, after the races, at church, at the bar, at Sunday dinner, wherever he is. He wants to win one of these Liberty Racing League Series races. He is the top dog, one of the guys that put this series together and really kind of grew it into what it is today. The competition's so tight, hasn't gotten himself a win yet, but the caution flag flies. Darren Mack having himself, looks like a little bit of an incident in that 59 car.
Two cars getting tangled up here in turn number 4 as we pull up the YRD Designs instant replay to show you what exactly went down there in turn number 3. There was an incident with Donovan Gerald you're going to see here as we get back to the replay off of turn number 2. That was a single car incident, did not bring out the caution flag, but we come down, you see Gerald right there, slides down, makes contact with the inside wall. Big shot to the 24 car. But keep your eye here on the 59 machine.
You're watching the 44 of Anthony English. There's the 59 of Darren Mack. They go into turn number 3, and he just pushes up the track, clips the 5 of Michael Carpenter ever so slightly. Carpenter slides into the wall. Mack was trying to check up to give Carpenter the space to save it, and Bobby Gibson runs into the back of the 59, and all 3 of them spin to a slide in turn number 4. Saw some kind of significant impacts there. I'm not necessarily sure how bad that was for those guys. We've already seen Michael Carpenter involved in an incident earlier tonight. I don't know if he has used his fast repair yet, so if he has, he could be in trouble not having that safety net to rely on here.
Kyle, I might have you do a little bit of digging here with the dynamic weather here in the iRacing, which is kind of cool to see. I was going to make mention here just a couple of laps ago, before that caution flag came out, it was starting to get super, super cloudy, super overcast, and it almost seemed like these cars were kind of skating around a little bit, but then that caution flag came out. It looks like the sun's starting to come out now, and as that sun comes out and we approach that halfway marker, the entire field coming down pit road, except for a couple drivers. Jax Duval in the 84, he's going to get himself one of those playoff bonus points for leading a lap. Freddie Durstock in the 7 car, he's going to stay out there as well. Maybe a little track position gamble. But everybody else coming on down, they're going to top off with the virtual Sunoco race fuel, grab a couple tires, and get out those virtual hammers and beat on these things just a little bit.
Yeah, I was noticing the cloud cover as we went back to green on that last run as well. Very interesting to see the weather change there just a little bit during this event. And that definitely makes a difference with this racetrack. When the sun's out like it is now, I know we're talking computer sims here, but it does make a difference in here as well. The sun and the heat create warmer track temperatures. Obviously, the sun bakes onto the asphalt, gets it warmed up. What does that actually do? Well, that takes away grip. A hot racetrack is a greasy racetrack. It's hard for the tires to find grip on a racetrack where it's very hot and slick. It makes things a little more entertaining for us because the guys are slipping and sliding around a little bit, but it is a lot more challenging to drive. Now, when that cloud cover comes over and blocks the sun, that's not as much heat that's getting into the racetrack, and depending on how long the clouds stay out, that will allow the track to kind of cool down a little bit. And when the track cools down, those grip levels will rise. It could bring the speeds up and allow these guys to be a little bit more confident and more comfortable behind the wheel. So definitely want to keep an eye on that as we work throughout the second half of this race. The quickie caution rule coming into play here, since we had a yellow flag within the first 5 laps of a green flag run, they take away 1 lap during the caution flag period. So as the leaders come back on off of pit road onto the racetrack, we are lining them back up, and we're going to go right back to green flag racing here, Paul, with 41 laps to go. Jax Duval Crawl, as you mentioned, he stays out to lead lap, and he's going to lead the field back to green flag here in just a few moments.
And Kyle, you and I have kind of talked over the past couple of days, past week or so here, that we've got some real cool things going on in the real racing world here. Coming up, once iRacing kind of takes the back burner for us, and you kind of made mention, you were kind of in awe of the promo video I was able to put together for Dr. Race Chaser. That right there, folks, is the kind of content you get when you go to the Facebook page, when you go to the Twitter page for Dr. Race Chaser, Kyle Young. I don't want to say he knows everything about motorsports, but holy crap, brother, you are there. Just always cool to sit back and just listen to all the information that you've got about motorsports. But, man, we're going to have ourselves another restart. Couple of cats up front, no tires, didn't come down. Duval and Durstock going to take that green flag here on lap number 40, and it's a good restart for the 84. Everybody else looks like they got caught sleeping.
We've seen over these last couple restarts that the leader gets off to a great jump, but he doesn't hang on to it for long. Watch that 3 machine of Jason Foskey. He's already starting to reel in Jax Duval Crawl in the 84 car. He's right up on the back bumper, coming out of the back straightaway. He immediately turns left. He has help from Rob Collier. He also has help from TJ Floyd, and those 3 drivers will make very quick work of the 84, pushing him back to 4th place, and Jason Foskey reclaims the top position once again. That number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet Monte Carlo looking strong out here tonight. Rob Collier spending a lot of time up at the front of the field as well. He's going to peek to the outside. He's going to try to take the race lead back as well. Side by side behind them. Really good restart. We are racing right off the bat. Cross flags fly. Halfway home here at Talladega. It is Rob Collier with the race lead at the line.
These guys putting on a show here for us in the Liberty Racing League. Foskey down on the bottom side. Collier been quick all season long in that 02 car. 10 spots gained on the night, 18 spots gained on the night, off sequence with the pit stops there with the 84 of Jax Duval. Side by side all the way through the field. Little three wide action in the second half of the top 10. The 83 car going to slide on up in front of the Durstock machine of the 7 car. Didn't like that too much. He's going to look down in the middle, going to line back up in the tire tracks here and sort it all out. But these guys getting a little bit antsy. They know they're past the halfway marker at this point. They want to ramp it up to 11 and really put on a show for those out there watching at home here live on Verdane TV. And again, we thank you for joining us. We're live all over the place, over on YouTube, over on Facebook, over on Twitch as well. And we finally got the TikTok page sorted out. Check us out, Verdane TV. Lots of cool stuff going on there, and the YouTube shorts as well. Little 60-second clips and tidbits of racing gold that we see here on Verdane TV. And I think we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a clip here, a little sideways side action up front.
TJ Floyd is around and into the wall. He collects Wes Hogue. Jarrett Bolliard gets a piece of it. The 95, he is involved. Rick Sebren's in the 4 car. All kinds of trouble in turn number 4 as the caution flag flies once again. It started at the front of the field. Contact between Rob Collier and TJ Floyd. Collier was able to hang on to that race car. I don't know how. TJ Floyd unfortunately not able to do so, and he collects a handful of others, and we are under caution once again here at Talladega.
Yeah, and you can see that fog kind of returning to the racetrack here over in 3 and 4. And you can see just how many drivers involved from this far away blimp shot. And you made mention that started up with the leaders. And TJ Floyd, there you can see the sun kind of coming out and fading in as they get into turn 3. It's super cool to see the dynamic weather system that the iRacing service has here, and really affects the handling of the cars. And there's that side-by-side battle that went awry. The 49 car tried to hold on to it. Wes Hogue involved. The 84 of Jackson Duval gets a piece of it. Jared Bolliard gets involved as well. The 95 of Mayer. There's Carpenter sliding on in. Big flip there for TJ Floyd. Sticks the landing, throws it in second gear, spins those tires, and gets going again. But I would have to imagine Kyle TJ Floyd probably going to have to use that quick repair.
Yeah, I'm thinking so as well, Paul. You can see the front end of that car just about evaporated for TJ Floyd. He took a big shot into the outside wall and then ends up on his lid. Michael Carpenter slid into the back end there and turned that 49 car upside down. Man, it has just been an absolutely miserable race for Michael Carpenter. That is the 3rd incident that he has been involved in these first 42 laps. And remember, that is your regular season champion, Michael Carpenter. We made mention of it last week. We haven't really touched on it too much this week, Paul. There are no benefits in this playoffs. It is cutthroat. It is sudden death every single week. Everybody restarts at an even number each week. This week, everybody's at 2,000 points. It doesn't matter that Mark Mann won. It doesn't matter that Michael Carpenter was the regular season champion. Everybody is on an even playing field, and it is going to be a tough fight for that 5 of Michael Carpenter to recover after the success that he has had this season. He was able to get through Daytona last week very well, but not a good Talladega at all. As long as he is still on the track, he has a fighting chance, but you have to imagine that driver is feeling all kinds of defeated inside that Warrior Motorsports number 5 Chevrolet.
And this is where we're going to start to see a couple of the championship playoff drivers kind of change their tune just a little bit. You're going to have some of the guys up towards the front like Foskey, like Collier, Lisowski. Those guys all up in the top 5, top 6 or so. Kevin West up in the top 10. Bobby Anderson, he's up in 9th place in the 18 ride. But then you kind of look outside the top 10. Mark Mann, Jarrett Bolliard, Hogue, Carpenter, these guys all on pit road right now. TJ Floyd, Jax Duval, all these guys still going for that playoff series, are going for that championship, trying to kind of move on, but you don't want to be last. We made mention we're sending 4 drivers home, or we're sending 4 drivers out of the playoffs here tonight to move us on into the round of 8, and then finally to the round of 4, the final championship race here on Verdane TV for the Liberty Racing League Series. And we're going to be kicking that show off a little bit early, bringing back the Slam Drafting with Liberty before that championship race, before that finale. And we're going to try and talk to the final 4 drivers as well. So that's a little bit of a programming note to write down in the calendar, because that's going to be a lot of fun here in 2 weeks' time. Kyle, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you and me both, Paul. I haven't been a part of a Slam Drafting broadcast yet, so I will have to make sure that I get back to the track here a little earlier, so that way I can help out with that. It'll be very interesting to kind of help build up the hype here. And like I said earlier, that is 2 weeks away from now, Paul. We've been racing for how many months? I think it was maybe back October, November, somewhere like there, where this series started. And 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be racing for the championship. That gorgeous WWE style championship belt will have an owner. I made mention of it last week. I got to spend a lot of time down at Wes's place in Jacksonville last month while I was on my Florida racecation. He got to show me that championship belt. It is so cool. I've never really been around a real wrestling championship belt before, so I can't compare it to something that you would see on television or at one of the in-person events, but it seems legitimate. It's got the weight to it. It's got the really nice leather, the shiny metals. You've seen all the photos and stuff. It's really damn cool. And I don't care. You see other leagues do some trophies and special things like that. How many iRacing leagues are giving away championship belts like this? I can't think of any. I know that this series is known for doing this in the past. To know that that belt is going to have an owner in 2 weeks is crazy to think about. I can't wait just to find out who it's going to be. We still have so many more races and eliminations to go through. But still, just to wrap your head around the fact that 14 days from this very moment, we're going to be racing to decide a championship. It's kind of hard to fathom because it's been such an entertaining season all the way through. And to know that it's coming to a close, in some ways it's sad, but it's also really exciting.
Yeah, and it's funny for me too because the last two guys that I know that I've seen have gotten one of those Verdane or those championship belts from iRacing came from the Verdane Racing League. The very first one going to our good friend Ian Plash from the Verdane Racing Series back in the day, and Jarrett Bolliard as well, both past series champions, both won a free ride with Rent a Race Car, and it was cool to be able to see those guys come up to Connecticut, to Stafford Motor Speedway, and jump into something very similar to these 87 cars. And it was kind of cool because, I met both guys at the airport to kind of pick them up. And each time, literally, both drivers had that championship belt thrown up over their shoulder. This is my carry-on luggage. So it definitely adds a little bit of swagger to the step. And could you imagine giving a guy like Wes Hogue, like Cole Bohannon, a championship belt and just kind of sending him into the Wendy's and tell him, hey, listen, the champ wants a junior bacon. Make it happen.
And that's a championship belt that he doesn't have to worry about losing either. Sometimes the champs go down in the ring, but that championship belt is here to stay forever for whoever possesses it. The pace car drops down to pit road. 35 laps to go when the green flag falls here in just a few seconds. How about Matt Teller? We talked about him earlier, non-playoff driver. He actually should have been in the playoffs. He is a race winner this season, but he had prior engagements on Tuesday nights. He wasn't able to race throughout the majority of the regular season. He fell outside of the top 20 in points, thus forfeiting his playoff eligibility. He fought back from earlier issues in this race, and he is up at the front of the field fighting for an opportunity to go to victory lane and claim that extra $10 bonus courtesy of Dr. Race Chaser, making a $35 pot if that lime green number 2 car can go to victory lane. Got off to a really good start. He kind of managed the gap there a lot better than some of the other leaders earlier in some of the previous starts. He keeps Jason Foskey and Kevin West at his back bumper. They will hang Rob Collier out to dry, and Matt Teller will lead the field off of turn number 4, looking to complete lap number 46.
And how cool is it for these drivers outside of the playoffs to have that little bit of extra momentum of a sponsor kind of jumping on board, Dr. Race Chaser yourself jumping on board, and just giving these drivers an extra little incentive to try and go out there, put on a good show, put on a race-winning move here for us. And you can see 3 wide now for third as Foskey going to take over the lead, now being pushed by the 17 car of the trailer park dude, Kevin West. The 2 car going to hold on to third for right now, but that 83 car, Laskoski, down on the bottom side. He's got a little bit of help from Anderson of the 18 car. How about Jarrett Bolliard? He just got his lap back like 10 laps ago. He's up here battling for a top 5 spot.
And not only that, but he was also involved in that incident just a few moments ago. That car's looking pretty pristine and clean. I wonder if maybe he decided then to use that fast repair and get that thing all stitched up and ready to compete. He's got to keep himself clean for the remaining 33 laps in this race, but he is not backing down. He tried to get underneath the Taylor Laskoski there for the position, was not able to do so, so he will settle in line. Taylor flirting with disaster a little bit there, bouncing off of the apron as you go on board with Jarrett Bolliard's number 97 machine, trying to make that inside line work. Bobby Anderson behind him trying to help out. Anderson is another one of those playoff drivers that had some earlier issues. he has recovered. He's on the lead lap. He's got a competitive car, and he is trying to work his way into the round of 8 here. 32 laps to go when we hit the start-finish line this next time by. Jason Foskey back in front of this race. He has seen a lot of green flag laps leading this field, showing that he's got the car to contend tonight. Could we see that Dale Earnhardt lookalike go to victory lane here at Talladega? How about Bolliard with a run out of nowhere? Charging on the inside. He's going to try to take the lead and make me look like a fool with that comment.
The 97 car of Bolliard showing that he's a master here on these super speedways. You swear this guy could see. You always hear about people talking about Dale Earnhardt Sr. being able to see the air. This guy sees how things are rendered. It's weird. He can see the birds flying in turn number 4 and see just how much that affects the air here with the iRacing simulator. It's almost a science. But Jarrett Bolliard making a little magic happen, leading himself a couple of laps and getting those prestigious bonus points that we've heard about, that we've alluded to earlier on and in past weeks, trying to hold on, trying to win his way in it to the next playoff round, and trying to show that 97 camp is going to take all the momentum they can handle into these last 2 weeks.
Based off of that interview a handful of minutes ago, Paul, whoa, we got one car way out of shape. I think that was Mark Mann. No, it wasn't. It was somebody else. The 7 of Fred Durstock. He hangs on. That was a big moment for him. Go back to the interview with Jarrett Bolliard. I think he might be doing something similar to Kevin Harvick in the real NASCAR Cup Series. I think he might be on the GNF Tour right now. He sounded extremely confident. He sounded like he was just going to throw it at the wall and see if it stuck. And so far, it is sticking. He is aggressively moving his way through the field. He is up in front of the field, commanding the race right now. Still got a long way to go, but he is looking stronger than ever right now in that Hardee's Ford Thunderbird, trying to be the spoiler heel here. He does have a victory. He won at Atlanta a handful of weeks back ago, but you want to get a playoff win as well. You want to put the fear in everybody else that you are not to be messed with for this championship race, and there's no better way to do it than go to victory lane.
Yeah, and we've talked about these drivers that's the two different strategies. Either survive in the bottom half. You can see the 49 car. Check out the 24 car of Donovan Jarrell, a little off the pace back there, able to hold on to it. We stay green and clean, working lap number 51, 52 as they cross the stripe, 51 laps in the book. West trying to hold on to the lead with Collier up on that high side, but watching these drivers go back and forth, kind of a little beating and banging, and we talked about it earlier on, these cars are able to take a lot of that beating and banging, and we've seen some great green flag racing here, some green flag pit stops as well, but I think we've got a couple of different strategies as far as tires and as far as some of the damage goes on these cars.
Yeah, without a doubt. They're definitely going to have to make one more pit stop if we go green to the end. And we've seen it throughout some of these pit stops already, Paul, that they're changing up the tire strategy. Some of them are taking 2 tires. They're not always taking 4. They're trying to save those left side tires for later on in the race. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here, what these guys decide to do if we stay green. If we have cautions, what do they decide to do? How are they going to refuel these cars? Are they going to keep topping off? Are they going to try to save it on the racetrack? There's still a lot more to this race than just meets the eye with putting the hammer down and trying to keep everybody at bay behind you in your mirror. So we saw some pretty aggressive racing off of that restart there. It seems like things are starting to calm down a little bit, not as much side by side, a little more single file as you see them race their way down the back straightaway. Only 4 cars out of line, and those 4 are at the front of the field racing for the lead. Matt Telder, he gets a little tight there. Kevin West is into the wall. He just gives it a slight little kiss and comes on off and hangs on there. We're getting into that part of the run, Paul. As more green flag laps commence, these guys keep racing with each other. Those tires are going to give up more and more and more, and it's going to be harder to hang on.
Doesn't look like that scuff in the 17 car slowed him down. If anything, it looks like it might have motivated him. How about that power move for the trailer park dude in the 17 car, driving all the way down the banking in front of 3 wide for second, going to take over the lead. And here comes the 97 car of Bolliard, going to lead the high line, then the middle line. West is going to come up. He's going to try and lead all of the lines. That 17 car showing he is a championship contender.
It's so fun to watch these guys do battle here. What a great product they are putting on. I got to be honest with you, Paul. Like, I love super speedway racing and NASCAR. It's probably my favorite form of motorsports as a whole. There's nothing that gets me up out of my seat more than seeing a massive pack of cars racing inches apart. But there's just something different about these 1987 cars where you get a good mix of everything. You get the tight, you get the big runs, you get the fast speed, you get the crazy crashes, but you also get some handling, you get some sliding, you get some footwork trying to keep the car doing what you need to do. It's just really, really entertaining, really different style of racing, but it's so fun to watch. I've been in these cars at this racetrack. I know what it's like from the driver's perspective. It's a lot of fun from that one too, but man, it's so much fun to watch these guys duke it out. Getting down to the end of it here, 25 laps to go when we hit the start-finish line. That intensity meter's just gonna start to creep to the right ever so slightly with every lap that gets clicked off.
And track conditions still ever changing here at Talladega Super Speedway. You can see as we get a little bit further on into the race, getting a little bit darker, getting a little bit more cloud cover. Here in 1 and 2, you can see on this back straightaway kind of comes out just a little bit. So these drivers almost battling with a racetrack that's very, very different on a two different size car. A little bit out of line. Looks like it's the 7 of Freddie Dirtstock once again doing a little drifting action down on the bottom side of the racetrack, able to hold on to it and keep it pointed in the right direction. We stay green with 25 laps to go.
Turn 2 seems to be the big trouble spot for these guys for these solo mistakes. We've seen a lot of guys push up into that outside wall, get sideways, spin out, hit the inside wall, or kind of do what Durstock just did there and gather it up and lose all kinds of momentum. So we've made mention of it a few times now. As these runs continue to progress, the tires start to give up more. That is where the biggest challenge comes, is corner exit. And it really makes it difficult for somebody like Kevin West, who's running in those middle to higher lines. The closer to the wall that you are naturally, the tougher it is going to be to stay off of it coming off of the corner. As you ride here with the 49 machine of TJ Floyd running in the heart of this pack, following Jason Foskey down on the inside line. He seems pretty smooth right now, Paul, not fighting the wheel too much, nice and calm, keeping with the lead draft, not making too many crazy moves. I feel confident that his fast repair is definitely gone after that last incident, so he's probably just trying to manage here. Whoa, we almost had an issue at the front of the field. Telder and Bolliard got together. Bolliard slid up to the outside safer barrier. They keep it together, 3 wide for the race lead. Bolliard loses that battle, and Kevin West going to use the middle lane to take it back. That was a very close moment.
And they're still door handle to door handle for first place there. Kevin West in the 17 car up on the high side. Matt Telder down in the 2 car, trying to spoil the show here for these playoff drivers and get himself a cool, clean, crisp $10 bill from Dr. Race Chaser for being the one driver to win that's outside of the playoffs. You can see Kevin West taking over a little bit of an advantage here. 23 laps to go, and at least, Kyle, one more pit stop for these guys.
Without a doubt. We've seen some sketchy moments here over the last few minutes with this lead group, but you have to imagine that they could be thinking about pit stops here fairly shortly. Sometimes on the super speedways, these guys like to get that pit stop out of the way early, short pit, get it done, don't worry about it, and let's just drive from there on out. Telder's into the wall, and he's going to slide to the inside. He's not going to save it. He's into the inside wall hard. A huge bummer for Matt Elder, one of the top competitors in this race. You can see the left front all sorts of mangled. The handling bit him. He got into the wall, shot down to the inside wall, nailed it, and that car is BROK, broke.
Yeah, broke without the OK. You can see not able to get that thing around the track. Going to have to call for the tow truck on that one. That is detrimental. That's going to end the night for the 2 camp for sure. But really knew what he was doing on these super speedways, just kind of handling going away in these 87 cars the longer we get into these runs. And you can see it almost looks like it shook some of these guys up just a little bit. You can see they're kind of zigging and zagging a little bit, trying to find who they could work with, but that could also very well mean we're coming up on some green flag pit stops here at Talladega.
Very well could be. As this run continues, these guys are starting to think, all right, that just happened to Telder. Could have happened to me. What do I got to do to be careful here, to keep myself in this race? Telder, a non-playoff driver, he didn't have as much to lose. A lot of these guys, they do. Their championship hopes are on the line in this race. 20 laps to go. What is going to happen next? We can report that Matt Telder is officially out of this race. He has disconnected from the server. A big bummer for him. He did such a great job of recovering after some early race incidents, was looking really good at the front of the field, but just like every other super speedway race, one tiny mistake, one lapse of focus, and your race is over. Unfortunate for Matt Telder. He was a lot of fun to watch tonight.
And last week, we were able to watch the race here on Verdane TV, and as the show kind of went on, there were races inside of races, and we're getting set up for that here tonight. 24 cars taking the green flag earlier on here tonight, taking a peek. 17 cars right now scored on the lead lap. Those 12 championship contenders, they make up the top 12 on the field. We're sending 4 of them home. I believe we're missing one of the championship contenders in the field here tonight. We'll have to double check and see who that is. But all of those championship contenders currently up in the top 12. If your only goal is to not finish in the bottom 4 of those 12 playoff drivers to move on to the round of 8, I got a feeling the last 5-10 laps here at Dega going to be very, very interesting.
Oh, without a doubt, it is going to be a fight. And I actually didn't even realize that, Paul. You're right. We are missing a playoff driver. That is Leon Kenniston. He is not in the field, so he is going to be eliminated as we can see some drivers starting to make their money stops, make their way down onto pit road. We got the 4 of Rick Sebrands, the 99 of Michael Rogers on pit road, Mark Mann, playoff driver, David Watts on pit road for what should be the final time here tonight. The 44 of Anthony English also down there taking service as you are now checking out the field on the back straightaway, working their way down. That's race leader Kevin West, followed by Jarrett Bolliard, Taylor Laskowski. Now, the 95 there, James Mayer, he is a couple laps down, involved in one of the earlier incidents. He's trying to race for some of his laps back, but as you can see, got a little close there as Laskowski tried to pit. Mayer almost got into the back of him, and now here we go. The big boys are coming on down. Kevin West, Taylor Laskowski, Jarrett Bolliard, Jason Foskey. We got one car off into the grass. Who is that? It is
Carpenter in the 5.
Michael Carpenter again, Paul.
Gathers it back up, but under green flag conditions, massive, massive heartbreak for the 5 crew. Going to be needing a caution flag to hold on to it. You made mention, Kyle, money stop. This stop could make or break a driver's championship hopes. You can see these drivers getting the right sides jacked up for at least Foskey in the 3 car, 2 tires. At least Kevin West going to win the race off pit road. There's the 83. Bolliard's down on the way to 3. And Hogue, those guys all came off pit road right in a tight little pack. Those are going to be the guys to watch here in the final 15.
And a good majority of them are teammates as well. You have the NTO4 boys of Kevin West, Taylor Laskowski, Wes Hogue, and Jason Foskey. Now, I don't know if Jarrett Bolliard is officially part of that race team or not. I know that they typically hang out together during these races and try to work with each other. So the 5 of them coming off the pit road together, that could be very good, especially after seeing that incident with Michael Carpenter. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to serve a penalty, and I believe he is because he's still in his pit box for leaving pit road improperly. So a tough night just gets even tougher. Paul, we talk about this being a championship belt award for the champion this year. I'm telling you, this is like an Attitude Era style hardcore match for Michael Carpenter. He's just getting beat over the head, unrelentless chair shots to the skull.
Yeah, it's almost like we had a little bit of a rule implemented where you can see some of these drivers still kind of rejoining the field here as the leaders get down on the way, really picking up a head of steam with that pack of drivers that came out. You can see they picked up a little bit of drafting help, it looks like, as well with the 17 and the 44 car kind of joining that pack. But it's almost like we took that belt here with 3 races to go and put it on the line for 24/7 and just lots of beating and banging with the drivers, kind of abusing the race cars, abusing the track, abusing each other, and really putting on a hell of a show here for a little Tuesday night racing.
So it looks like the majority of the front runners able to get through the money stop clean. You can see Taylor Laskowski racing Kevin West for position. This is not currently for the race lead. TJ Floyd is out in front right now. He is going into turn number 1 at the moment with Bobby Anderson right behind him. He is in a pack of lapped cars. Bobby Anderson's off the lead lap. Jax Duval-Krull right on the tail end. James Mayer, he's a lap down. So an interesting strategy here for TJ Floyd, kind of ignoring the rest of the field, doing his own deal. keeping the draft with some of the lap cars. Be interested to see what happens here as he continues to execute this strategy. It'll be 13 laps to go as we come to the start-finish line this time by. I'll keep my eyes on him to see if he ducks down onto pit road this time, and it looks like he will. So TJ Floyd going to give up the race lead all by himself. Well, now James Maynard's going to pit in front of him, and the caution flag is out. The caution flag is out. Anthony English is in it, and TJ Floyd just rolled onto pit road with it being closed. He rolled onto a closed pit road. I am confident now that he is going to get penalized this time. We were close on if that was going to happen prior. He is definitely going to be penalized for entering a closed pit in this instant. 44 car, Anthony English in trouble, and this is going to be a huge detriment to TJ Floyd's hopes.
And there you can see it. It's crazy to be close one time, but a second time, there's not even really room to react. He probably didn't even see those red lights blasting there on the left-hand side. You can see the car in behind him sees that red light, trying to lock up and not get the penalty. You can see Mayer saw it just too late. He's already across the line, going to be a penalty for him as well. Let's take a look at the incident here with the 44 Hot Wheels ride, getting a little loop-de-loop action with that Hot Wheels ride. You can see spinning like a top just a few times, and it looks like he got a little bit of help there from the 83. There was a little bit of contact in any sense. We'll take a peek at it from the U-House Racing Designs instant replay, and you can see just a little bit of a tap there in the back of the 44 car. Looks like he left the ground a little bit. Hit the outside safer barrier a whole ton with the back of the car. Going to tap it one more time. Grab a gear, try and get that thing pointed in the right direction. But Anthony English, after running up towards the front, big-time wreck here with just a few laps to go.
Yeah, no, sometimes we kind of give Taylor a little bit of ration of crap for being involved in some of these incidents so much, but I don't really think I can place a lot of blame with him there. It looked like he was trying to go to the outside to make a pass, and I think at the same time, Anthony just got tight and slid up the track, and there was just no time for Taylor to react, and the two made contact, and unfortunately, Anthony English went around. So I'll keep my eyes here on the iRacing chat to see if there are any penalties given out for that incident. Typically, it's just an end-of-line penalty if there is anything done, but certainly something to keep your eye on since that did involve a playoff driver in Taylor Laskoski. You can see some guys starting to make their way down onto pit road, maybe to top off for fuel, throw the last set of tires on, and get ready to ramp it up and go for this end here. This is going to be right around 10 laps to go. And elimination time is reeling in here, Paul. We know some of the situation at hand. Leon Keniston is not here, so he is eliminated. Michael Carpenter, terrible night. He is off the lead lap at the moment. He is not looking good. So out of the 11 cars that are in this race right now, 3 of them will be eliminated, and I think a good number of them have led laps. I think Jason Foskey might have a good opportunity for that those extra bonus points for leading the most laps, maybe between him and Rob Collier. Laskoski has led, Kevin West has led, TJ Floyd has led. The vast majority of these guys have earned points for leading laps, so it really may just come down to straight up who finishes ahead of who.
Yeah, and you got to take a look up front. This is going to be big. A couple of drivers electing to stay out on the track. Taylor Laskoski and Wes Hogue did not come down pit road. TJ Floyd didn't come down either. He was originally scored in P3, but it looks like he's going to get at least an end of longest line penalty for coming down there during the closed pit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that 49 car maybe come down and top off on fuel potentially in that 49 ride. But, man, that's crazy to see. Coming up to a closed pit road, close the first time, got busted the second time.
Yeah, and it may have been a situation like you said, Paul. He was so committed to making the pit stop that maybe he just locked up and couldn't decipher what to do and just rolled in anyway. For his sake, I kind of hope that it's just an end-of-line penalty and he doesn't have to serve that under green, because if he does that, that is going to put him in a very, very bad position. Just so many few laps left to go in this race. He is not going to have any time to recover unless somebody else has a major catastrophic issue. I think Michael Carpenter decided to stay out to try to put himself back on the lead lap here. It looks like him and Anthony English are going to do that strategy and hopefully take a wave around. Yes, they will, but Carpenter is still a lap down. So he's going to have to hold on to a miracle here. We will get the restart with 10 laps to go. Carpenter is 1 lap down as it stands. He is not in the free pass position. So 10 laps is definitely plenty of time to wad up some cars and get another yellow flag, but he's going to have to make some passes in order to get himself in that free pass position and hope that his turmoil is done. Like we said, it has been a brutal race for your regular season champion. He's still on the racetrack. He is not going to give it up. And I'm going to say it right now, Paul, if he advances in this deal, no matter where he finishes, I don't care. We're getting an interview with him because he has a story that he needs to tell from his perspective if he gets to move on.
Taking the restart with 10 laps to go, Kyle, I am sweating. Michael Carpenter, championship contender, stuck 1 lap down. Just took that wave by to try and get a little bit closer, but he's still 1 lap down, 10 laps to go. All of the other championship contenders within the top 11. Race being restarted with Taylor Lasowski holding on to the lead. Hogue in the 38 car, his teammate up on the outside. They stayed out. They didn't get any fuel. They didn't get any tires. Kevin West, Jarrett Bolliard, those guys came down, I believe, for fuel only. Going to restart in the second row. Jason Foskey is up there. Mark Mann, Rick Seabrans. We've seen those guys work very, very well together up in the mix. Rob Collar in the 02 car led a bunch of laps all season long, not just tonight. Jax Duvall, Bobby Anderson rounded out the top 10 as they run, and TJ Floyd going to restart back in 11th after coming down a close pit stall. Lights are off on the iRacing pace car. We're lined up 2 by 2. We're getting ready. Is this the last restart? I don't think so. 10 laps to go here at Talladega.
No, I will pound the no on that bet. We're going to see another incident. Here we go. Paul, strap in, get ready. 10 laps to go. 4 drivers will be eliminated. We know who one of them is going to be. Another one's in very bad shape. We will see what happens here. It's Talladega. Anything can happen. Laskowski, Hogue, West, Bolliard, Foskey. Green flag is out. We are back underway at Talladega Superspeedway. Foot down on the loud pedal, going through the gears, racing back up to speed.
And there you can see a couple of veteran moves up in the top 4. Those guys working very well together as a team unit, getting lined up. They're going to try and pull away just a little bit, maybe try and get themselves just to a cushion a little bit. Try and get, at least half of the 8 spots in that next round of playoffs next week. Here on Verdane TV, you can see Jarrett Bolliard not quite hooked up with these front 3 drivers, but it's going to be something for any of these guys up on the high side. There you can see it, Batman and the Yeti up top. Mark Mann in the 4 car, or the 04 car, up on the high side. Rick Seabrans in the Yeti number 4. They're trying to take some of that momentum up on the high side, but everybody's lined up down on the bottom right now. 9 laps to go here at Talladega.
Pretty calm and kosher up at the front of the field here. Everybody playing nice for the moment. Jarrett Bolliard jumps to the top side, trying to find some momentum to work his way around Kevin West. He's got some help from Mark Mann and Rick Seabrans, but nothing yet. The top 3 slide up into that outside groove, right up against the safer barrier, trying to stay out in front. They don't want to risk anything. The easiest way to advance is to keep as many playoff drivers behind you. Jason Foskey goes to the inside underneath of Wes Hogue for position number 2. He's got Rob Collier with him. Jarrett Bolliard comes down, nearly takes the nose off of Jax Duvall. Crawls number 84. Laskowski tried to throw the block on Foskey, not able to happen. NTO4 is 3 wide for the race lead with 8 laps to go.
And you saw a little bit further on in the pack, Michael Carpenter in a side-by-side battle with Don Ashton in the 52 car for that last car, or the first car rather, on the lead lap, just in case these guys up front do decide to wad it up. He wants to try and take advantage of that and get back on the lead lap, but he has got a side door full of that 52 car, just like these guys up front have a windshield full of the 97, making a big move. Bolliard down to the bottom side, 3 by 3 for 2 rows. We are all over the racetrack, 8 laps to go.
All bets are off, Paul. It's every man for themselves. You got teammates going after each other, making passes, leaving them hanging out to dry. The NTO4 boys starting to drift to the back of the field. Here comes Rob Collier. He's going to lead lap 73. 7 laps to go. Bolliard trying to pull Jax Duvall Crawl with him up to the front of the field. Kevin West now to the top side by himself as Collier drops down low. Foskey and Laskowski. That came out right. How about that? Trying to build some momentum on the top side. Nothing doing there. Here comes Mark Mann. We haven't talked a lot about him too much tonight. Last week's winner, trying to put himself in the mix to go back to back.
And at this point, you made mention, you just alluded to it, all bets are off. 7 laps to go, 6. When we get to the stripe here at Talladega, you don't have time at this point to hook up with your teammate. You're going to push or be pushed by whoever's around you. And you can see it's really putting together a couple of odd pairings. And you can see Bolliard going to lead another lap. He's got the 84 car of Jax Duval crawl right in behind him. The 02 car up on the high side. He's getting pushed by the trailer park dude in the 17 car of Kevin West. He's been up front all day. You made mention Batman in the 04 car is there. Anderson is there. Foskey, Lasowski, they're still on the bottom side of the top 10, trying to move on up. Seaburns and Floyd in the top 10 as well.
Man, Paul, this is intense. All of these guys, they're all playoff drivers. There's not a single non-playoff driver up at the front of this field. Collier with a tight squeeze trying to put Jared Bolliard behind him. He can't do it. Bolliard would not back out. He's going to fight on the inside. He wants to lead. Duval Crawl trying to give him the drafting push. West up on the top side. Barney's going to show him a handful. 5 laps of racing to go at Talladega. Hang on, folks. This is going to get good. Look at Duval. He's sideways in front of West. West shoots to the top. He's sideways. Can they save it? He makes contact with Mannon. He's in the wall. Kevin West is into the outside wall. He hits it again. No caution. He gets hit by Donovan Jarrell. Jarrell spins into the inside safer barrier with a big impact. That's off of the racetrack. The caution flag has not flown. Now it has. Now the caution flag is out with 5 laps to go. Oh my goodness, Paul. That is huge for Kevin West's championship hopes.
That's going to reset a lot of situations for a lot of drivers here late in the going in this one. Going to get that green-white checkered restart, and we're going to get an opportunity to take a peek at this U-House Racing Designs instant replay. But holy cow, have we got ourselves a race.
Gotta take a breath after that one, man. Talladega is doing Talladega things. What a race. Oh, man. A big break for Kevin West, and not in a good way. We'll take a look at the YRD Designs replay here. Watch the second car in line, Jax Duval Crawl. They come into turn 1, and he's sideways right there. Wiggles, comes back up the racetrack right in front of Kevin West. West darts to the outside to avoid him. He gets sideways, makes contact with Mark Mann, and bam, gets in the wall. They may have broken the car. He hits it again, comes back down the track, and Donovan Jarrell nowhere to go. Shears the right front fender off in a huge hit to the inside safer barrier. They both slide up onto the racetrack. West spins up, and that is what brought the caution out as you see that field working its way back on by. I want to pay attention here. Paul, look at the leaderboard. I saw as he came on by, that 5 car is being shown as the first car 1 lap down. Could this be the break that Michael Carpenter needs to get back in this race and somehow advance to the round of 8?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. You can see some of these lead lap drivers going to come down. A couple of the last drivers down a lap as well. Kevin West going to come down and get some of that damage worked on. Michael Rogers, Anthony English on pit road as well. Michael Carpenter is, in fact, going to get that free pass. He's going to get put back on the lead lap with a green-white checkered restart here, an attempt here at Talladega under the 6th caution. It's going to put Michael Carpenter will end up being the 13th, 14th car on the lead lap. We've made mention all of the playoff drivers are up in the top 11, minus Kevin West, who's down on pit road, actually being scored in 12th. This is going to be a bare knuckle knockout, drag out fight to see which 4 of these drivers are going to be going home, because you can bet they do not want to be last, and there's guys up towards the front that don't want to survive. They want to win this race and show that they have the momentum, that championship belt should be on top of their shoulder, and they are the ones that want to be acknowledged as the Liberty Racing League champion, and that is what's on the line here at Talladega.
Oh boy, this is going to be crazy. I think if you are Michael Carpenter here, you've basically got to treat this like you are already eliminated. You have been fighting back from the depths of hell the entire race. You now have your opportunity. This may be the only opportunity. Who knows? I think we have a few green-white checkered opportunities here, but maybe we make it to the white flag. You have to go. No holding back, no trying to work with anybody, no leaving anything in the storage tank. You have to let it all out right here. And I think you got to do the same thing if you're Kevin West. He just used his fast repair. He saved it all race long. Great job on him for doing that. Now he's starting towards the back of the field. We know that Kevin can get it done. He has been very, very good all race long. He's been leading laps. He's been up at the front. Now he's coming from behind. He's going to have to make the moves at the right time. He can't afford to make a mistake because if he crashes, it's it. That's it. He is done. He is going home. He will not win this championship race. So you've got some guys having to come from the back up to the front. You've got some other good recovery stories like Jared Bolliard, who we talked at halfway. He did not have a good first half of the race, and he is in the lead right now. Rob Collier's been good all night. Mark Mann, last week's winner, he's shown up when it matters most. Taylor Laskowski coming back from some issues, and Jason Foskey, quite possibly the most dominant car of this entire race. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen here, Paul. God, I love Talladega. I love this racetrack so much.
That 5-car Michael Carpenter did, in fact, get that free pass. He has indeed rejoined the lead lap. He's going to give us 14 cars now on the lead lap, and we just saw the end of his pit stop. He's got 4 fresh Goodyear tires on the bottom of that number 5 car. He is on the lead lap. He needs to get out there, and he needs to pass 3 cars. Do not want to have any of these drivers, or none of these drivers want to finish outside of the top 8. But they want to, at the very least, get around 3 of those championship drivers and essentially survive the night. Little battle of attrition towards the back of this field here. Lots of drivers a lap down or multiple laps down. Couple of drivers down on pit road. The 24 of Donovan Jarrell saw him get involved in a couple of incidents. Bobby Gibson, Matt Tender in the 2 car after being up front for a few laps early on. David Watts in the 54 car. The 001 of Jeremy Richmond. Dallas Sweet down on, looks like they missed those last 2 drivers missing the green flag. But man, oh man, we're lined up. We're 2 by 2. We're getting ready for a green-white checkered attempt here at Talladega. We alluded to it earlier, Kyle. I don't think we're done wrecking yet. This championship battle is going to go down to the absolute last lap of the last race. It's probably going to be on the 12th or 13th green-white checkered restart of the final race. These guys want this championship belt. They're going to do everything in their power to get it.
You mentioned we may not be done wrecking. In case we are not done wrecking, let's go over iRacing's green-white checkered rules because they are different from NASCAR's. So we can confirm that we will have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. They'll take the green, they'll take the white, and they'll hopefully take the checkered flag. If the caution flag comes out on the first lap of a restart, we will try it again. If the field gets to the white flag and takes the white flag, the caution flag will not fly no matter what happens on the final lap, and we will race back to the checkered flag. So keep that in mind, folks. Strap in, get ready, because it is about to get crazy here at Talladega Superspeedway. Who advances? Who is eliminated? Jared Bolliard on the front row. What does he decide to do? Nice and slow, keeping the field grouped up. Now he punches it. Green flag is out, and we are back underway at Talladega. He is going to clear Rob Collier. He's starting to open up a bit of a gap. Not too bad. He moves to the top side, going to try to drag the brake a little bit, close that gap up, and see what he can do to keep himself in the race lead.
And we've seen it happen time and time again, especially on these green-white checkered restarts late on in the going. You don't want to get too far out in front. You think it's a race. You want to get as far away as you can. Not with these super speedway races. You'll be able to see these drivers get lined up. Oh, trouble! TJ Floyd around in the 49 car. Up and blows over. How about that?
Another car. 2 cars upside down. TJ Floyd was one of them. There was another one that flipped on the inside.
It's Westbrook. Oh, no.
Did a big barrel roll in turn number 3. Oh, my goodness, Paul.
Jax Duvall involved as well. TJ Floyd still stuck on his lid, doing everything he can to try and get those rear tires to spin, to get some momentum, to get that 49 car back on his wheels. He gives up. He calls for the tow truck. Oh, my goodness, Kyle.
He's done. He's done. TJ Floyd is done. I hate to say it like that, but Paul, that's it. We know he used a fast repair earlier on. He just had to tow from being stuck upside down on his roof. He is going to need an absolute miracle of all miracles in order to advance, and he may have had some help there. Taking a quick look at that replay, we are going to watch it back for you. My
goodness. We'll start it right from the restart here. Watch the white and red number 49 car on the inside line. Kevin West behind him in the black number 17. All of these cars minus the 4 are playoff drivers. Rick Seabrans is the only car that is not in the playoffs right now. And as we get to the back straightaway, the 49 is the first car that spins. So let's pay attention here. Kevin West closing in. There's a big checkup on the bottom side. West goes to the inside and clips the back bumper. Spins TJ Floyd into Wes Hogue. Clips Hogue. He's going to spin down. Ball gets involved. Watch the 49 up into the air. The rear end is airborne. And oh my gosh, look at that camera shot. TJ Floyd, big flip upside down on the back straightaway, and he may slide all the way to his doom. There was also an incident with Wes Hogue down at the bottom there. I'm not exactly sure how he ended up getting upside down, but my goodness, TJ Floyd, a spectacular crash on the back straightaway here at Talladega to see his championship hopes all but disappear. My goodness, not at all what you wanted to see happen if you are a part of that 49 crew, if you are a race fan of his. Not good whatsoever. We're going to check here on the 38 machine. Wes Hogue is at the back of the field right now. He's got some damage, but he is not giving this one up.
Tough break for TJ Floyd. The pit road almost getting come down the closed pit road, then making the closed pit road there and just landing on your roof and, well, giving us another idea here. Is a good shot on this quarter panel here of that. Bam, Dr. Race Chaser logo on the quarter panel of the 49. So we might have to get ourselves a t-shirt or a sticker made up for Vidane.net. Hey, if you can read this, please flip me over.
Well, I don't know if it's possible to get a replay on that 38 car, but that one was a little bit more spectacular. He, too, did a huge blowover on the back straightaway, barrel rolled up onto the top of the safer barrier, and you can see that's a live look. He is not quitting. Wes Hogue is beaten, battered, and destroyed, but he's going to try to take that 38 car to the round of 8. Watch things here from Wes Hogue's perspective. We're going to back this one up. This is a huge ride as well. He kind of bounced around on the back straightaway here. All right, so he barely gets clipped in the left rear corner panel by TJ Floyd. He almost straightens it out here off of Rick Seabrans' car, spins around, and watch. Takes flight just like TJ Floyd, up into the air, spins around, lands on the driver's side, and then comes off to the roof. And hang on here, boys. We are off for a roll. That car flips over multiple times, climbs the banking, and watch when it gets to the top of this safer barrier. It's going to go up on top. Look out. Oh, that's how he got up there. Don Ashton piles into him, launches him into the safer barrier, almost does a skid there, a grind, like a Tony Hawk grind, and then comes back down onto the banking, and that 38 machine barrel rolls dramatically down to the infield grass. My goodness, what a ride for Wes Hogue. He's coming down onto pit road right now to try to work on that machine. I don't know if he has a fast repair or not. He was involved in some earlier incidents. We're going to see right now. If he's got that fast repair, he's definitely using it no matter what. And we'll see as soon as he pulls to a stop in his pit box. Survey says no. It does not look like he has a fast repair left, so he's going to do whatever he can to beat the fenders out of that machine and try to fight. He knows, really at this point, he's just got to beat one car. TJ Floyd probably going to go home. We know Leon Keniston is out. Well, really, I guess he's going to have to beat two cars. I forgot that Michael Carpenter was back on the lead lap here. So this is great news if you're Michael Carpenter. TJ Floyd, he's back out on the racetrack right there, as you can see, but he is tracked one lap down. Like I said, he's going to need the miracle of all miracles. We still have a couple more attempts at this green white checkered. I'm not going to say, maybe I shouldn't have been jumped the gun too early there. I'll retract a little bit. Maybe he still has a hope, but it still does not look good for TJ Floyd.
This is going to come down to the very last round. You can feel it. You can feel the intensity. You can cut the intensity with a knife. We've got some phenomenal racing to go here with another green-white checkered attempt. We're lined up 2 by 2. Taking a peek at it, 14 drivers on the lead lap. Wes Hogue being the last of those drivers, and he is down on pit road still trying to get some of those damages repaired. You got to wonder if any of that's required, if he's going to be able to pull away in time to rejoin this field for the restart. If he gets stuck a lap down, his chances for the championship are Dunsky. Down on the bottom side, Rob Collier in the 2 car. teammate to Larry Westhogue, Taylor Lasowski, up on the high side in the 83 car. Up on the high side. Bobby Anderson, Jarrett Bolliard, Mark Mann, all up in the top 5. Jason Foskey, Michael Rogers, Anthony English, Michael Carpenter. How about that recovery for the 5 car? And Jax Duvall, the top 10 as they run. Kyle, this is going to get wild.
It is. I can tell you Wes Hogue is trying to race to catch up the field. I don't think it's going to work. He's running down the back straightaway right now. There's the live look at Wes Hogue. He's up to speed, doing what he can to catch up. The field is coming to the green flag. He is going to have to hope that they don't make it around. He's going to need that third and final green-white checkered attempt. All right, let's try it again. Lap number 83. Rob Collier, Taylor Lasowski, your front row. Bobby Anderson and Jarrett Bolliard, row number 2. Who wins? Who advances? Who goes home? We are about to find out. The green flag is in the air once again. Can we make it on attempt number 2?
Collier getting a little bit of a jump, about a car length down on the bottom side. Lasowski trying to make the run up on the high side. Has a little bit of help from the 97 Hardee's machine of Bollier.
Bollier going to go up there to try to push Lasowski out in front. Here comes Bobby Anderson to close in on the 0-2 machine of Collier. Side by side, dead even drag race down the back straightaway. 2 uniform lines pushing and shoving, trying to find their way to victory lane at Talladega.
Biggest thing for Wes Hogue to keep in mind, you can see he can see this pack out his windshield. They are side by side, 3 wide, coming to the white flag, coming out of 3 and 4 for potentially what could be the second to last lap. Are they going to be able to take it, that white flag, and make this race official?
Look at Kevin West on the outside line. He is trying to take over second at the front of the field. They will make it to the white flag. No matter what happens, the caution flag stays put. We will race to the checkered flag. Taylor Lasowski with a good run in the middle. 3 wide, 2 rows deep, trying to race. Anthony English, where did he come from? He's on the back bumper of Kevin West, trying to shove him out front. Bobby Anderson all over the rear bumper of Rob Collier, trying to get him the advantage going down the back straightaway. 3 lines still pushing and shoving. Everybody clean and green into turn 3. Michael Rogers in the 99. Don't count him out just yet. Collier leading the field. Nobody challenging him just yet. Can he hang on? Kevin West trying to get a run. Will Collier block? He sticks with Anderson. Anderson looks to the bottom. He's out of the apron. Can he sneak underneath the Collier? Collier tries to block Kevin West. He puts him in the wall and spins. Who got it at the line? It was either Collier or Anderson. Cars are flipping wildly. It was Rob Collier by 21 thousandths of a second. Spinning across the start-finish line, wins this race. He goes upside down. Kevin West is upside down. There's carnage everywhere in turn number 1. Oh my goodness, what a finish. I don't know if anybody made it through that crash, Paul. My gosh.
We just had 4 blow-overs coming to the checkered. That's never happened here at Vidane. Are you kidding me?
I'm
Rob
sorry.
Collier coming
gracious.
home with the victory.
Whoa.
My goodness. Bobby Anderson coming home second, the trailer park guy. Dude, holy cow. He's going to come home and third. We're going to talk to those guys here on the Turn 4 podcast post-race show. Michael Carpenter. He finished 4th.
He did it.
He's
He's in, Paul.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to talk to him as well.
He advances.
Woo.
Unreal.
Michael Rogers going to round out the top 5. Kyle, what a phenomenal freaking race.
I cannot believe what I just witnessed. What a finish. We were exiting the tri-oval, and I had no idea who was going to win that. I thought Bobby Anderson had an opportunity down low. Collier was looking good. Kevin West was trying to throw the bonsai run up top. We're going to pull up a replay here. Just watch this chaos. Watch this chaos off of turn number 4. Rob Collier leading the race. Bobby Anderson in the Interstate Batteries car right behind. That's Kevin West in the black car up top. He is trying to get the victory after some late race issues. Just watch the front. That's all you need to do is watch the front of the field. Kevin West on the outside here, trying to get a run from the push from Michael Carpenter behind, and there goes Bobby Anderson to the inside, almost clips down. I mean, maybe he does clip down onto the apron here. Tries to peek underneath the Collier. Collier trying to squeeze him down onto the apron. He can't quite block off the run. Now he's got to come back up the racetrack to block the advance from Kevin West, and it wasn't quite good enough to keep that car pointed forward, but it didn't matter. He put himself into the wall. He put Kevin West into the wall. He spins across the start-finish line. He goes up into the air and flips. Kevin West goes up into the air and flips. So there's 2 of the 4. Where are the other 2, Paul? You said there were 4 blowovers. Where are the other ones?
It's a 5-car Michael Carpenter. Anthony English, I believe, in the 44 car. He gets one. There's the shot. Bollier gets into the 5, gets the push from there. There goes the 5 car. He gone. Starlink.
Carpenter. I mean, why not? Why not end the night? The night that he has been through, why not end it on your roof after somehow advancing into the round? I just, Talladega. That's all I got to say. Talladega.
And we're down here in a victory lane. Holy cow, Rob Collier. We're all just kind of taking a look at that last lap wreck of the replay. Holy cow, man. Talk to us. What's going through your mind right now?
It just highlights how much I hate this stock package on these cars here. So when we did Daytona, it was bumpy Daytona. The car wore out enough to where people actually knew what they were doing. You could do stuff with the car. Here, with how the temperature went down, then the fix setup here is a big band-aid for most people who don't know what they're doing, and we just get that product. But I basically came in here regular season. I was ultra conservative with everybody. I gave a lot to everyone, and coming in, that's like I'm just gonna return what I was being dealt the entire season. So yeah, I was gonna win this race because I was tired of losing in 87s. Since I'm better than everybody on 87s in this league.
Gloves are off, going for that championship belt here in a couple of weeks' time. You win, you move yourself in to the round of 8 with that momentum on your side. Is that the same mindset going into these final 2 races? Gloves off and get out of the way. The O2 car's coming, right?
You have to, especially if Wes gives it a thumbs up. We have a more stable setup that me and Kyle Hendricks put together for next week at iRacing Super Speedway, and then the trucks are just the trucks. So that's always just a madhouse, especially here at Talladega. So it's either you're taking or you're going to lose.
100%. The mindset and the lines drawn in the sand. The O2 car coming for blood. Who makes it happen here for you, Rob? Who gets you to and from the virtual racetrack?
First, thank the wife for letting me do this, of course. And of course, thanks to Wes for putting this on, and good old bshow.info for sponsoring us. Thanks, guys.
Winning and moving on in the championship playoffs in a massive way. Rob Collier coming home with the victory here at Talladega. Kyle, you're a little bit further down pit road. You caught up with the Gravedigger himself, Bobby Anderson, finishing second.
That I am, Paul. Bobby Anderson, your runner-up. Bobby, first off, congratulations. You are on to the round of 8 officially. Take me through that finish. You were oh so close. You had a great run. You snuck your way to the inside to try to steal it away from Rob Collier, but it wasn't enough. What more do you think you needed in order to get this victory?
And just need to play a little bit dirtier. But that ain't my style, so I mean I knew I was going to have to go below the line, but I didn't want to do it that way. And he moved up the line, and so I just stuck it in there and just held it. And I saw him go up the track, and I didn't know where he was at. And I heard him wrecking, and then by the end of it, I couldn't figure out where he was at, just trying to see, and found out we lost by 0.21. So it was a great race, dealing with the finish and then dealing with the beginning of getting a pit row penalty for pitting under closed pits and having to drive back from that twice. So
take me through some of the struggles that this race provided for you throughout this one. We saw a lot of guys coming off of turn number 2 having some meetings with the outside wall that sent them through some problems. It kind of just the classic issues that this race car provides at this racetrack.
yes, it's turn 2. If you're behind somebody, if you're right on their bumper, you're not going to be able to see that corner coming out. And the way this car likes to drift up, if you don't know where that corner, where you need to start turning a little bit harder down to the corner, you're going to meet that wall. And it's like everybody hits that wall at the same exact spot, and you shoot down the inside wall, and it's just, it takes everything away from you. So it's one of those things where it's technical. I mean, it's these cars, if you don't know how hard you need to turn, how hard you not need to turn in the corners, you'll drift up and either meet the wall or meet somebody else.
The 2 races are in. 2 races remain. You are on to the round of 8. Next week, we decide the championship 4. What do you have to do to make sure that you are part of that group?
Don't give an inch. I mean, we have to qualify. Don't go to the back and start in the back. We have to start up front. We have to be there. Race for everything you can and keep it as clean as possible. And hopefully at the end, we'll be being the ones pushed across that finish line.
Bobby, a great run for you. Congratulations once again. Who would you like to thank for the performance tonight?
I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's great for you guys to do that. bshow.info, our sponsors. I want to thank my wife, my kids. Thank my teammates at TLM. They're probably watching this from my other league, so they help give me practicing on this and learn the car. And my other guys over at JVR and just my sponsors, Car Inside, and just everybody.
Those are the words from your second place finisher, Bobby Anderson, 21 thousandths of a second shy from taking the win here at Talladega. But most importantly, he will advance into the round of 8 next week at iRacing Super Speedway. Paul, I will turn things back over to you, my friend. You are caught up with our third place finisher, a man who had all kinds of drama at the end of this one, but he somehow will race next week for the championship as well.
All kinds of drama indeed. All drama, as a matter of fact, here in the 17 camp. And that wreck coming back into turns 1 and 2 after that checkered flag, that's crazy enough to go viral. Trailer Park Dude making a little magic happen for himself, finishing on the podium, talking to us here in the Turn 4 Podcast post-race show. Man, barely made it in last week into this round, and you're up in the front making some magic happen in that 17 car. You end up on your lid here, but man, you're in the round of 8. Talk to us.
Well, Paul, it's been a long time since I got to talk to you, man. We've had a lot of bad luck this season. Ran really well, led laps, ran up front pretty much every race this season, but for some reason we haven't really been able to close out the deal and finish up front. So, man, I'm stoked. I thought I was out of it last week, and a miracle happened off the turn 4. Like, it was the wildest thing I've ever seen. And then this week, had that wreck, got into TJ. Feel really bad about that. Not intentional at all. The bottom line is checked up, and I got into him a little bit and ended up taking Wes, my teammate, out of the playoffs. So I feel bad for those guys. But we got the EOL there. On that last restart. I didn't think I'd be able to get up there, but I restarted on that restart in first gear for the first time, and I got a super run, and I just did not lift. Stuck it on the outside 3 wide and did not lift, and somehow, some way, we made it to the front and got us a podium, and we're going to move on to the next round, and I'm stoked, man. Super happy.
Between all these EOL penalties, we may very well go viral on the new Verdane Racing or the Verdane TV TikTok page. Getting a little close and comfortable with that commitment cone last week. And you can check that out over on the Verdane TV Shorts, as well as all your social media outlets. I know you're big in the streaming world, and there's a lot of folks on that car that get it from to and from the virtual racetrack. Who helps you out here, Kevin?
Well, I'm sponsored by Dubby. It's a energy drink. You can go to dubby.gg and use the coupon code TrailerParkDude to get yourself, I think it's 5% off, maybe 10. I can't remember. I want to thank bshow.info. They've been a great sponsor for us this year. And I want to thank you guys. You guys are killing it in the booth. You guys sound amazing. Your coverage has been awesome. So just want to give you guys a shout out too.
Always much appreciated here at Verdane TV, and showing you got a little momentum on your side, going for that championship belt here. 2 races to go. Good luck. We'll see you next week, Kevin.
All right. See you guys.
And Kyle, you and I crazy excited to see this guy back into the top 5 after the race that he had coming back from a lap down. Kyle, you've caught up with Michael Carpenter.
I cannot believe that I am about to do this interview, but I am so excited that I get to do it. Michael freaking Carpenter, 4th place finish. Anything that could have gone wrong for you tonight, it did. I said earlier it was like an Attitude Era WWE hardcore match where you were bludgeoned in the head with a chair relentlessly tonight. And you finish in 4th, you advance in the playoffs. My question is simple. How?
Well, I did Mick Foley one proud tonight. I'll just tell you right now with that hardcore match. But no, man, that was rough. I don't ever want to do that again. That was without a doubt the roughest race I've had forever. 2 laps down with 20 to go. Just fought like hell and had some really good help. My teammates staying with me, making sacrifices themselves to help me draft up through there, pitting late so they could start back with me. It was just a good team effort tonight. No luck, no skill by me. Man, that was all luck. That was terrible.
With everything that you went through tonight, to be able to advance to the round of 8, what does this do for your confidence, for your mental state, for your strategy going into next week? Because surely it can't get any worse, can it?
Well, I knew going in that this race was going to be my weak link. This car is tough. I didn't have a couple teammates with me tonight. This car is the great equalizer. So as far as going forward, I'm just as confident as I've ever been. I'm glad to get out of the car, but we're going to be right there at the end. We're going to race up front for sure.
Your regular season champion, Michael Carpenter, is somehow still alive in the Liberty Racing League Super Speedway Series playoffs. Michael, congratulations. This may be a performance that will never be topped in Verdane TV history. I cannot wait to see what you do next week. I will certainly be irrationally pulling for you after what you did tonight. Who would you like to thank for somehow pulling this one off?
Well, I definitely want to thank you guys for putting this on, putting the show on. You guys do a great job every week. bshow.info for sponsoring the league, Wes for putting it on, and my WM guys, man. Like I said tonight, Freddie and Bobby and Dave, they were right there with me the whole time, cheering me on, trying to get me when my head was down. They were trying to pull me out of the hole, and obviously it worked. We did a good job getting back up there, and we'll be there next week, guys.
The definition of refusing to quit and fighting until the checkered flag drops. Michael Carpenter, your regular season champion, pulls off a 4th place finish after the disaster of all disaster races. He will race in the round of 8 next week at the iRacing Super Speedway. Paul, I'll turn things back over to you. We got Wes up here in the booth. Not a necessarily great night for him as a driver, but if he was able to capture anything that we were able to see from the driver's seat as an admin, he's got to be ecstatic.
Yeah, we've still got the U-House Racing Designs instant replay, just playing different camera angles and different angles of that wreck and that finish. And probably one of the most entertaining races I think we've had in the 3-year tenure here of Verdane TV and West. Race didn't finish as well as you thought. Not going to be able to move on and try and claim your spot in that championship 4. But man, it's one of those deals, and I've had to go through the same thing in the past. You put together a league, you put together this group of super elite drivers, it almost makes it impossible for you to get in there to win.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Rob on that win there, getting his 3rd win of the season. I was doomed from the beginning here. Having to use that fast repair as early as I did, needing to get that meatball fixed, and with these cars, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They're either absolute tanks that will run so well, or you break a toe link. And it was tough sledding. It really was all throughout the race. All the wrecks were happening up front. If you try to get up front, you were getting involved in an accident. And unfortunately, to stay within that in the top 8, you had to be in the top 8. And for a while there, I kind of rode around, watched the wrecks happen, and missed them. And then there at the end, just went for it. That's all you can do. I wish that last caution did not come out, the one that took away the lead, I believe, that Kevin had. Kevin had like a 15-second lead. It was a huge lead, but all of us were in. We had a strategy. Unfortunately, one of our team members just kind of went against that strategy, and it messed up everything. It bunched up the entire strategy. Then, unfortunately, what happened with Kevin, I'm not even mad at him. He's going for it. He didn't have the best race either. We were just 3 wide, got turned. I don't know what happened around me. I just know I absolutely barrel rolled enough times to get dizzy in my VR. And that was about it. It's just rough night, Paul. As I heard Kyle say about the league, absolutely, proud of what is to come and what we got going on. I saw a lot of clean racing, saw some aggressive stuff as well. But that's just super speedway racing, man. I could get out on here and F-bomb the crap out of it because of my own luck. But hindsight and looking at the big picture, another great week for Liberty Racing. And I'm looking forward to going into this top 8. Now, the bright side on my end is I no longer have to worry about points racing. The next 2 races that we have, I'm just going for wins, and going to do my best to make myself $50.
And sometimes that's what it's all about. And you can bet you're going to see a lot of this race over on the Vidane TV YouTube channel. Going to do a little choppy chop and get some Vidane TV shorts made out of this one. Just a super entertaining race to be able to kind of take a seat back and watch everything unfold here. And we've heard from everybody we've talked to, Wes. The gloves are off in these final 2 races. The championship drivers want the belt. The guys outside want to prove that they have what it takes to go for a championship. Everybody's trying to get into victory lane. The focus is already lined up. Win the race, move on to the next one, win that race too, and come home with that championship belt. So lots of stuff going on here in the next couple of weeks. Want to give you the opportunity to throw some thank yous out there. Who gets it done for you? Who gets you to and from the virtual track? And who helps out with the league side of things here as well?
Well, first of all, Paul, thank you for putting this on. Being a friend for damn near 10 or so years now, it's good to have you on board in here. Kyle as well, jumping in the booth. I know he's having a bunch of fun, so I appreciate Kyle. All these guys for still showing up. We still had over 20 drivers in a race that only 12 guys were eligible to win a championship. So that's awesome. Hopefully we continue to see the numbers. And I'd like to give a shout out to Leon Kenniston. He was a playoff driver going into this race. He unfortunately had a power outage, and he never got an opportunity to enter the ring. So unfortunately, after a backstage assault, he was not able to make it. But nonetheless, it was a lot of fun. I just I apologize to the guys. I apologize for the guys next week because the gloves are off, and I have nothing to lose now. Sorry for taking a 3 wide going into turn 3 at iRacing Super Speedway.
So it's going to be a knockout, drag-out fight in these final 2 races for that championship belt. And man, Kyle, I'm really looking forward to it. Final thoughts here before we get the heck out of Dega.
I can still feel the adrenaline running through my body. Fortunately, well, I'm not even going to say that. Rob Collier saves my $10 tonight, but I feel like I should take that $10 and pay everybody $10 for what we just saw tonight. An absolutely incredible race. This is why this racetrack is my favorite track in the entire world. This place is amazing. The racing was incredible. I don't care about anybody out there that doesn't like the super speedway stuff. I don't care if they don't like this car. I am entertained to the max with what we saw tonight. Just an unbelievable drive by Michael Carpenter. I'm serious when I said it. That may be the most amazing performance in Vidane TV history. The finish was incredibly exciting. Damn near 3 wide coming across the line. This system... Honestly, it may not be my preference when it comes to real-world NASCAR, but this playoff structure is phenomenal for iRacing. We have had 2 incredible races, iRacing Super Speedway next week, and I believe the Xfinity Series cars. I have yet to call a race at that racetrack. I've been watching the season throughout the entirety of it. I know what the history at that track has been like for this league, but I'm excited to see what it's going to play out to be. I think maybe there are some concerns from some of the history, but with what we've seen so far in the playoffs, these guys are delivering amazing races, and if we continue this trend, we are going to be set for something incredible come next Tuesday. And oh, by the way, that's the championship for deciding race too.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that we're getting so close to getting into that championship 4. We're going to be crowning ourselves a series champion in due time. Going to be able to take a look at some of the highlights from this race and many more over on the Vidane TV YouTube page. Introducing Vidane TV Shorts. YouTube.com/Vidane TV will take you right to where you need to go. Take a look on it on your phone, on your computer, your tablet, whatever you got. All sorts of cool stuff from the history here of Vidane TV's 3 years. And it's getting up to that 3-year anniversary. I believe it's going to be next week or this week. So very excited for that, and lots of cool stuff coming up here in the future. We'll catch you on the flip side. And when we do, here at Vidane TV, we will be doing it live.